got started, so we want to keep it going. So if you guys want to show up and just have a little casual chat or whatever, we were going to do that. So.
Would you stand and join us, please?
Wandering into the night, wanting a place to hide this weary soul, this bag of bones. I try with all my might, but I just can't win the fight. I'm slowly drifting, a vagabond. And just when I ran out of road, I met a man I didn't know, and he told me that I was not alone. You picked me up, you turned me around, you placed my feet on solid ground. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, because you healed my heart, you changed my name, forever free. I'm not the same. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, I thank God.
Woo! All right, church.
I've got to deny what I see. Got no choice but to believe. My doubts are burning like ashes in the wind.
All right now.
So long to my old friends, burden and bitterness, you just keep them moving. Now you ain't welcome here. From now till I walk streets of gold, I'll sing of how you saved my soul. This wayward son has found his way back home. You picked me up, you turned me around, you placed my feet on solid ground. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, because you healed my heart, you changed my name, forever free. I'm not the same. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, I thank God.
All right, church, here's where it gets good.
Never lost another one. I am free. I am free. I am free.
Come on, church.
Never lost another one. I am free. I am free. I am free. Never lost another one. I am free. I am free. I am free. Never lost another one. I am free. I am free. I am free. Never lost another one. I am free. I am free. I am free. Never lost another one. I am free. I am free. You picked me up. You turned me around. You placed my feet on solid ground. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, because you healed my heart, you changed my name, forever free. I'm not the same. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, I thank God.
Woo! Yes, amen. Thank you. Thank you.
So let him turn it in your favor. Watch him work it for your good. He's not done with what he started. He's not done until it's good. Hello,
prayer concerns. We do have a couple folks that were added this week, Michelle Taylor and Zach Smith, and then we still have a ever-going list of folks who need prayer. So let's think about them, and I'm sure you folks have got people on your mind or somebody you can think of that needs prayer as well. So think about them at this time. Let's pray. Lord Jesus, who went about doing good and healing all, we ask you to bless our friends who are sick. Give them the strength in body, courage in spirit, and patience in pain. Let them recover their health so that, restored to the Christian community, they may joyfully praise your name, for you live and reign forever and ever. Amen. At this time, the Lord's Prayer. Okay, if you'll follow along with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And the scripture reading this morning is from Galatians 5:22-23. If you please stand. Thank you. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. All right. May God add his blessing to those words. All right, this morning we have special guests, because I'm sure you don't want to hear me stand up here all day, that's for sure. But Brad and Sherry Catron are here from Foothold Ministries, and they're going to tell us a little bit about what they've been doing and what's been going on. And I guess really, we've been involved in this for a good little bit now, and maybe we can see really what we've been doing with our money and how it's been going. I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience. Brad, you guys, and Sherry, want to come on up? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Thank you. Good morning. Oh, Brad's lagging behind. What are you doing? You had to go back and get some stuff? You have a teddy bear? What is happening? What's going on here? What are you doing?
I got up at 3 o'clock this morning,
Yeah.
put on my boots, got my backpack ready, and here I am. And along the way, I found a bear.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah,
I was, okay.
but he's all tame and we're good.
And you're wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Seems like you're a little prepared for something, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you think you are today.
Well,
Do
I
you
know I'm
really-
here at
do you
Walnut
need-
Street
Do you
Church.
really need, like, hiking poles? I mean,
Yeah.
this is like an emergency GPS. What
Right.
what are
Well,
you doing?
You know, it's not every day I dress up like I'm going hiking, right? But when I do dress up like I'm hiking, I'm either headed for Mount Kilimanjaro or I'm headed for this
Well-
thing called the Wanderlust Gala, and it's like, yeah, that's why I'm all
Oh, because the dress is supposed to be destination.
Right.
Well, I came dressed for it too, but I just
Yeah,
had a
it's like-
different vibe going on. Like, I
It's like-
was thinking of going, like on vacation.
Like-
But you look like you're going on I don't know, an expedition or something?
Well,
That looks-
did you register for like a cruise or something to win a raffle ticket for a cruise? Like you
Oh,
think
yeah,
you're going
yeah,
on a
yeah.
cruise?
I did that too.
Look at you.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I brought my carry-on and my
Yeah.
passport bag and some
Yeah.
bling from
Yeah.
from Kenya and around the world, but this is the way I was dressing for destination. So
Right.
we could dress Oh, I understand now.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
just a lot of preparation you put into that.
How about you?
Do you want to talk a little bit about the gala, Brad?
Yeah. Thanks so much for having us here today.
It's a lot of bling.
I'm Brad.
I'm Sherry Catron.
Yeah. And we are co-founders of Foothold International, based here in Chillicothe, Ohio, but working in Kenya, East Africa. It's now coming up almost 20 years.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, and so we thank you again for having us here. And the reason why we're up here dressed like this, and the reason why we're talking about destinations, is because on October 5th we've got a wonderful event coming up, and we've been to talking. It's like planning a wedding every year.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get a gala together, you know, everything's got to be in place. You know, the caterer, the event, the venue, everything. And so we've been working hard for that, at that. And so, on October 5th,
Thursday night.
Thursday night, from 6 to 9,
Yeah.
we are hosting the Wanderlust Gala at the Postmark right here in downtown Chillicothe. And so there's going to be some auctions. There's going to be a silent hybrid auction going on.
Yep.
The food is going to be catered by Our Kitchen Custom
You want to come
Catering.
over here a little bit?
Yeah.
So-
The food is going to be catered by Our Kitchen Custom Catering. We've got some cupcakes coming up for dessert and Highlands ice cream for dessert. So at least the food's going to be good. It's going to be really good. So yeah.
Yes, so this year we decided the theme Wanderlust, and I think it may be a theme we stick with. I like it so much. Because many people say to us, you can go to Africa, I could never go there. And so, but where can you go, right? And so our heart, our joy is that we fall in love with the nations, and that we see areas where we can cross borders or cross boundaries, stepping out of our comfort zone. And the truth is, even when we go to Kenya, even when we climb Kilimanjaro, even though it's a tough thing to do, there's so much fun and joy in it. And so we really want people to come to the gala anticipating fun, anticipating laughter, anticipating connecting in relationships. We were at a conference in Nairobi just a month ago, and there was so much laughter and joy and just silliness along with some very serious things we talked about. And so we know that the work we do is sometimes heavy and it's far away. And so we want to make sure that you're able to experience a little bit of the joy and the fun and the laughter, all the humor and the inspiration that we experience when we're there. So that's what we're trying to create, that so that it's a place you want to go to, not because you feel guilty or you feel like it's your duty to go, but because you're anticipating a great time, because that's really what we experience when we travel to Kenya too. There are things that are hard about it. There are things that are heartbreaking, but we do have a lot of fun, and we enjoy relationships on a whole new level. So that's our gala. I think that covers it. You did a nice job.
Yeah, and we have information.
Yeah, we got these flyers.
If you're interested, we'd love to have you. And so we've got information for that, and you can register for that, and we'd love to see you there.
All right, I'm going to take my hat off, if that's
Take
okay.
your hat off,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
I'm going to shed some of this baggage. Yeah, so the gala, we really want it to be a celebration, but before we can really talk about the celebration, we have to talk a little bit about something that we've been quiet about. Some of you who we've talked to personally may know this, but we've been struggling this year. It's been a hard one for Foothold. It's been a hard one for us personally. Last year when I was throwing the gala, getting ready for it, I just come back from Tanzania, and Brad was left behind. And do you want to talk a little bit about what was going on in our lives?
Yeah, I was staying behind, and I crossed over from Tanzania into Kenya because we're just across the border. There is where we stay, and so I was getting ready for a couple of months worth of work, right? And so just to get back home just before Christmas, and I knew Sherry was preparing for the gala. I mean, we arranged for me to still be there because we had purchased a piece of land there in Kenya to develop for the
There's a lot of
people that
stuff
we
to
work
do.
with. Yeah,
Right,
and I was
so
there
we
dealing
made that
with that.
decision for you to stay and for me to.
Yeah, dealing with so many things, and then I get the phone call, and she says, and it's the day before last year's gala,
Oops.
and she tells me, Brad, your mom's had a heart attack, and I'm like, oh my
And she's in
gosh,
surgery.
you know. Okay, so update me. She updated me, and then next thing you know, is well, I've got to get home. So I'm on the phone calling airlines and trying to get a flight out of there, and I was able to get a flight out the next day, and I was able to get back here. And so once I got back, hit the ground running, back and forth to the hospital, staying out there, and Sherry was, the gala had taken place in a blur. It was
There were
it was
many
just a
people I
camp.
didn't get to follow up and thank. There were so many things that fell behind, and we were just managing. I felt terrible.
Yeah.
Because there were so many people that helped that I don't even, there's a lot of people that just showed up and just jumped in that I hardly even remember. It was just a blur.
Yeah, and so, and then Mom went on from the hospital and eventually on into hospice, and on November 11th, she passed.
So we're coming up on almost a year at that time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this has been, so while we're,
Yeah.
and we've all been through these things. We've all had losses in our lives. We've all, it's not been an easy year for any of us, right? There's been lots of things. But one of the things that this word forbearance, another word we talk about is long-suffering. It's a fruit of the Spirit. But when we made a commitment to establish Foothold, we made a commitment to that long-suffering, for that forbearance, to lay aside our own privileges and to embrace this idea, too, of cultural humility,
Yeah.
right? And we wanted to listen more than act. And so our foundational acronym that we used was CASH.
Right.
The big C was complement. We wanted everything we did to work with the culture, not against it. We wanted to make sure our good ideas actually fit in the puzzle piece. And then the A was accessible, then S, sustainable. A, accessible, S, sustainable, am I getting my letters? And then finally, H was holistic. Because if you know us, we do lots of projects, because we're working holistically in the community. But this big C was kind of a challenge in the last year and a half. In 2022, we also made a commitment. We had to talk with our staff at the very beginning of the year, and we said, we need to make a change this year. We need to not make a change, basically. We kept adding on more projects, and I said in 2022, we had made this decision. We really felt led to say, we need to do nothing new. We need to really dig in and evaluate everything we do, everything we've been doing, and make sure there were no cracks in our foundation. We wanted to prepare ourselves for growth. And that conversation led us to a really challenging time.
Yes.
Because as we started asking those questions, and as we started really examining our staff and their vision and our mission and our values, there were some things that weren't lining up. And we couldn't put our finger on it. It was hard to talk. It was the first time we've really talked about this publicly at all. We felt like this was the place to do it.
Yeah.
So when Brad got to Kenya, and he went back in March, so, we went from, dealing with the loss of his mother and
Yeah, being a caregiver
the
for
change
all
in
those
our
years,
lives,
and the
right?
change, it's just like it's just us and a cat now. Two cats.
she was, she lived with us, so there was a big life change we were going through, and we were grappling with a growing sense of kind of like unease
Mhm.
with some of our staff. Unease that we weren't seeing things the same way. And part of me kept reflecting and meditating, praying about it, if there's this bad feeling, if there's this sense of no harmony here, if we're pushing up against each other and there's this tension, then maybe it's time, we're coming to a season where Foothold graduates into the hands of Kenyans. Maybe it's our time to step away. Those were part of our conversation. They were the only conversation. But we kind of suspected, our values weren't lining up with their values, and we were being told things like, well, this isn't the way we do things here. And I thought, well, this is terrible. If we're pushing a concept and it's not hitting, what's happening here? And so Brad and I had a lot of conversations. We had a lot of tears. But this conflict, as we talked it through, we thought, well, conflict oftentimes breeds progress, right? Like talking about things openly and honestly, is what enables us to grow. And we found that wasn't happening. It was more conflict, bred more conflict. And when Brad arrived, he went back in. I was supposed to go in February, March, April, somewhere in that window. But I didn't have the strength to go. I had a back injury. I was just emotionally wiped out. I just couldn't go. It was the first time in my life I said, I just don't want to go. I need to stay home. I don't have it in me to go. And that was something new. So instead, Brad went. He went to Kenya without me. He was there for about, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
And during that time, moment he landed, you were blindsided.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk at all about that, or do we want to kind of keep that?
Okay. Just keep going.
If you want to know more about that, we'll talk to you personally
We'll
about
have
it.
coffee sometime.
But we weren't exactly blindsided. We've been talking about how to navigate this shift, whether it was us, whether it was them, like, do we need to part ways with some of our staff? Like, we needed to make some really heartbreaking decisions that we didn't even want to talk about. So when Brad got there, things happened pretty quickly.
Right,
There was a severing of ties.
Yeah.
It was really painful.
yeah.
And Brad was kind of left in Kenya to fend for himself. The people that we relied on were just gone. And,
Yeah, and that forbearance,
yeah,
that long suffering, that's kind of it was kind of the theme while I was there, because when you're halfway around the world and you're all by yourself, and yeah, there's a phone call you can call home, you know, better internet has made that really easy nowadays, but still there was this loneliness, you know, you go back into your house at 5:30 in the afternoon and it's just you. And so that really takes some getting used to, especially when you're going through a difficult situation and all you want to do is talk to somebody about it. And I know that she was exhausted. And it's like, okay, who am I talking to? What am I going to do? And so a lot of the time there, it is go home at 5:30, fix some supper, and go to sleep. Because that's all you wanted to do was just go in and put your head under the covers and just go to sleep.
but with the time difference, it's also hard for us to communicate, 7-hour, 8-hour time difference at the time. And for me, I had gone from September climbing Kilimanjaro to not being able to step just a few feet in my home without assistance. It was incredibly humbling. I felt like my body was also screaming, Sherry, you've got to deal with something here. And I didn't have the energy or the fight in me. So when this conflict arose and I saw Brad there and we had all these things that, how are we going to handle all of these problems in front of us that we didn't see coming, but we did see coming? I told him, I said, I want to fight. I don't want to give in to this. I don't want to give in because somebody has done something to harm us or to leave us. I didn't want to give up, but I also knew, honestly, I didn't have the strength. I wanted to fight, but I didn't have any fight in me, right? And at that same time, what you guys don't know, when we were going through that, Courtney Hines was sending me messages about what you were doing here and what the money that you were raising for Jasiri. And while Brad was in Kenya and all of our projects were sort of in tension, like they're still there, they're still going, but we were trying to figure out how they were going to go forward, the Jasiri project was the one that was holding.
Yeah. And I even thought about, oh my gosh, Walnut Street's raising these funds. And what am I going to tell them when I get back?
Yeah.
What if this day was when I got back and I had to stand up there and tell you that it was for nothing? That's what was going through my head, seriously. I'm like, what am I going to tell them? What am I going to tell them? They believed in us. And it's like, wow, okay.
You didn't call us and ask us, is everything okay? Should we raise money for you?
Yeah.
You were just trusting us. And there's something about being in that space where you're doubting everything and you're questioning everything and you're really broken and tired, and someone believing in you so much to invest in the work we do
Yeah.
gave me some fight, a little bit of fight.
Yeah, and in the midst of that, then I started meeting with the rest of our staff and having some really hard conversations. And
Yeah.
in particular, Jennifer, the manager of the Jasiri project, and to listen to her, and especially an individual from Walnut Street Church. The last time Sherry spoke here,
Yeah.
stepped up and handed Sherry a check after the service, and said, "I want to make sure that Jennifer finishes high school. And I want you to know that Jennifer, because of an individual from this church that caught the vision, because of that, Jennifer got her diploma in December. And to see her just, it was amazing to sit down with her and really hear her out for hours, and the vision that she has and what she wants to do and where she sees Jasiri Project going. And I'm like, wow, this is complementary now. We're complementing each other, and now we can go to work complementing each other. And then when you raise those funds, it was like we
were ready for
we've
it.
got our plan. We're going after it now. And so, yeah.
So one of the conflicts we were dealing with was that there's different approaches to community development, and one of them is when you have a great need, like the need for menstrual pads. The need far outweighs our ability to meet the need. And so what our staff was doing that we were kind of having some tension with was they were kind of working in triage. So they would kind of keep them, stock them up, and they would wait for a phone call. They'd wait for a text message. They'd wait for an email from a school saying, hey, we got a couple girls who really need them. And then they would send one of our other staff out to meet with them and give them the talk about menstrual hygiene and all of that. And then they'd wait again for the next phone call. And we had made this decision. We met with Pastor Therese earlier this year, and we said we want to stop doing it that way. Because what we know for girls in Kenya and many places in the world, the moment they start their period is a traumatic experience. No one has told them this is coming. And so when I think about when I was 12 and I started my period, not a comfortable conversation, I know, but I was ready for it. My mom had prepared me. There were women in my life. I knew what was happening. I was still really upset. I was still really embarrassed, but I wasn't traumatized by it. In contrast, my best friend at the time, she was at my house a few months later. She also started her period at my house, and her mom was from a different generation, and she hadn't talked to her at all, and it was a different experience for her. She was luckily with my mom, who came to the rescue and told her what she needed and what to do. But even worse in Kenya, young women, when they associate blood with that part of their body, there are other things going on. Young women, many women give birth within these communities. Many of them have died from complications. So the connection between blood and that part of their body is associated with trauma. It's associated with violence. Many of these young women have to undergo female genital mutilation. Again, they don't know when they're bleeding, when that first time happens, what's going on, who to turn to, what's happening. And so this was the thing that we had resolved earlier, well, actually in 2022, that we wanted to be proactive. We wanted to raise enough funds that we could go into the schools and give every girl 8 years and above a kit to have, and to have the education. So, and then we also felt like that would be easier on our staff to not have to be running and putting out fires and running all over the region trying to provide this, but we would do an initial, larger meeting, provide those ahead of time. And then there's also the stigma too. So they don't have to go and ask their teacher if they're embarrassed. Because I know for me, even though I had a mom who prepared me, I didn't like to tell her what I needed. I wanted her to figure it out, right? Like I would kind of leave little hints. And she'd say, do I need to go to the store? Yeah. But I never wanted to say it. Even though I grew up in a home where it was all around me and it was provided and there was no reason for me to be embarrassed, I still was. And so I thought about those girls. What about the girls who don't want to tell anyone? Are we reaching them? And so this was when this kind of break happened, when the dam broke, when we had this moment where our staff, when all the conflict came to a head, we realized we were so grateful of the timing that we were able to work with staff who were on the same page, who shared our vision, who understand being more proactive instead of reactive, to getting ahead. Like, how can we not do this? Knowing what trauma it is for these girls, we can prevent trauma by a very simple thing, a $10 pad kit, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that leads to you, right?
That leads to me. Let's go to
You got an update,
Yeah, I
right?
want to give you an update on just what happened.
Can I just say one more
Yeah,
thing?
go ahead.
So when we think about forbearance and long suffering, we had made a commitment to do that, to keep going back, to follow up, to reevaluate, to ask the tough questions, to be able to make changes. And that breaks your heart and blesses you at the same time. And so for us, when we were at a place where we were weak, you were a source of great strength, that you have long suffered with us over these last few years. And so I just first want to say that before I forget to say it.
Yeah, and your prayers and your support meant the world to us, and it still does. And we so appreciate that, because it's so nice that even though when you feel like you're all alone, just having someone there with you, maybe not there with you, but with you in spirit, is pretty amazing. It's encouraging. What you're looking at there right now is a pile of washable menstrual pads. And those are the Jasiri pads that our seamstress makes there. And again, there's no electricity where our seamstress works. So it's a treadle sewing machine like Grandma had, you know. And it's a singer, and it just keeps on singing, right? It just keeps on working. And so,
Very reliable.
And so through the funds that you sent, we're able to buy those materials locally. We're able to pay staff locally, and everything is local. We're not taking anything over for this project. So the great thing is that we're supporting the local economy there, all right? And not only that, but it doesn't take us $150 to pack an extra bag and put it on the plane. So that's a good thing. But there's a pile of those pads. And so, go on to the next slide. I am so, this picture brings me joy, because I got to go to this school and spend some time with the principal there. And by the way, the staff person that we were talking about, she was wanting us to go to a different place.
Yeah.
And that place ended up being, the day that I went out there to visit it, it was 30 kilometers away. And that's a considerable distance when it takes you an hour and a half by truck, four-wheel drive truck to go to. And I'm thinking all the way along, I'm like, where is this place? Where is this place? Where is this place? And the most relevant term in Kenya that you can hear is, it's just over here. It's nearby.
It's not very far.
Not very far.
Just
Not
over
very
there.
far. And I'm like, then an hour later, you're getting there. So you always know that statement is loaded. So we end up at this school, and there was no settling there. And I said, no. We're not going to do it. I got back to Taveta. I called up Jennifer, and I said, Jennifer, I said, what's the nearest school that's not receiving Jasiri support? And she told me of this school. It's called Salaita Primary. And so I said, well, let's arrange a meeting. And so here I show up with Jennifer on the back of the motorcycle. And that's a picture, you know, American man with a Maasai woman on the back of a motorcycle. And you show up with a baby all you know, in her. Yeah, she had a baby tied to her. So we show up, and we ask to speak to the principal. And so, yeah, that's always fun, because the principal says, well, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? I'm getting there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so we sat down and told him of our intention, and he says, you know, you don't know how happy you made me today. He says, especially the girls, the population here of this school, they are Maasai. And he said, it warms my heart to know that Jennifer, your spokeswoman, your manager, is also Maasai, who was affected by this thing called period poverty. And our girls are missing school. Our girls are missing 4 days of school a month. And our girls are dropping out of school, and they're forced into child marriage. And you, my friend, we welcome your project. Come here. And at the same time, you're raising funds. And so I said, Jennifer, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this a little differently this time. We're going to do it a lot differently, in fact. And I said, you're going to be visiting the school 2 or 3 times a month. And I said, not only that, but we're going to be filling out reports. We're going to be interviewing these girls. These girls are holding up a profile survey of a little bit of what's going on in their life. And that's collected by Jennifer, so we can have that on file. Then, next thing you know, we're arranging a parent meeting. We're calling in parents that should have talked to their children about these things and saying, we're going to have a tough conversation. These girls need to know what's going on, and we want to bridge this gap, and we want to bring you into this conversation. We're not just going to give your daughter washable menstrual pads and send her home and say, be well. We're bringing you in as parents. Empowering them, yes, and to start that conversation. And then not only that, but are there boys in the house? Are there boys in this school? Well, these boys are going to get sat down too, and they're going to learn a little bit about menstrual hygiene and reproductive education, because Daddy is not saying a word. And that's what we're going to do. And then not only that, but we're going to start out with the girls 9 years old and up. They may not have reached puberty yet, but they're going to be ready, because Jennifer, you're going to talk to them about this thing that's coming up, and that it's perfectly natural, and that God has designed you that way, and that you can be bold and confident and brave, just what Jasiri says in Swahili. Bold, confident, and brave in everything that you do, girls. And not only that, but you can finish school. what's the statistic for every year a girl stays in school?
She raises her income by 25%.
Can you imagine that? Every year she stays in school, even
High
if she
school.
doesn't go to college, she raises her income 25%. Not only that, but then if she finishes high school, she's much more less likely to go into child marriage. She's less likely to experience female genital mutilation. She will also earn a greater income, but then not only that, but then her children are more likely to go to school. So you are a part of a snowball effect, and you are a part of something that is truly amazing, and that this little $10, $12 drawstring bag with 4 menstrual pads, 3 pair of underwear. Yeah, they need underwear because where are they going to put the pads, right? So we had to give underwear. We give them a bar of soap and start them out right away, and handcrafted soap, by the way, that our women's group is making. And Jennifer teaches those girls how to wash those pads, how to sanitize them, and how to maintain them so that they're going to last them for a year. And if they lose them, they go bad or something like that, then yeah, because of the funds that you set, guess what? There's extra pads, and all they got to do is let the matron know or let Jennifer know when she comes to talk to them and say, hey, I need more pads, and she can give them to them.
We've also taken pads to the local dispensary.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So there's a local dispensary that we've been providing clean water through a grant from the
Yeah,
Rotary,
right.
local Rotary Club.
Yeah.
So we also provide this for the local dispensary clinics in the area. So some of these women, again, there's lots of minors, there's lots of children
Yeah.
who are having children.
Right.
Who go to these clinics that we can't reach when we provide pads to the schools.
Yeah.
So we also provide them now in the community
Yeah.
because of your generosity.
So we're also surveying the parents, and then we're also randomly surveying the girls and the parents throughout the year as to how things are going, how the household's changing, is their health better, all these things, so that we can prepare statistics and bring back to you better reports, and also we'll look for some more grants. Next slide, please.
To say thank you
So
on
this is
behalf of our girls
School, she's,
because of the Jasiri organization.
turn it up a little.
They have really helped our girls who have started the menstruation cycle because we had a lot of challenges in them. In that during their menstruation period, they absent the school. But because of the Jasiri organization, we are really happy. The girls are now coming to school all the days without being absent. Also, we appreciate the panties, we appreciate the bags of the Jasiri, we appreciate the washable pads and the non-washable pads. You really did a great job to us. We have also done our work to be very easy because now the girls, they feel that they are very free and they enjoy coming to school. Thank you for that. To say thank you on behalf of our girls because of the Jasiri organization.
So there you are, the
You may
matron.
recognize the faces
They have
in the
really
pictures we
helped
sent over.
our
Jennifer,
girls
it's not
who have
the
started the menstruation
Right.
cycle
Jennifer's taking it herself by
because we had a lot of challenges
We're
in
not
them.
there where this is going.
Right.
In that during
So,
the
next slide,
menstruation
That's
period,
Salida, that's the matron thanking you. And while I was there and all those funds came in from Walnut Street Church, I thought, you know what? We need to promote this project in a big way because I'm really feeling excited about it. And so I called up, got on the line to somebody in Nairobi, and
Did we
it's
bring any of those?
called Drawstring Bags, and I said, I want a drawstring bag, you know, like you get for promotional purposes, and this is what I want on it. So you also bought 600 drawstring bags, so that these girls, when they receive them, they're proud, they can keep their kit in there, but then not only that, but they're pretty sturdy, and they can use them as a backpack or whatever. And so, yeah, and it says Foothold International and Jasiri Project on it. So you guys, you got that started, and so I think we're going to continue to do that. So
It also provides, I think, just another source of pride.
Yeah.
You know, when you see it, you don't automatically associate with periods, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a blue, beautiful bag. They're very excited to have them, and it can start a conversation in a very, honoring way
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily expose them to very, private issue,
Yeah.
right? And so I think it was a great idea.
So we've gone to another school here. I'm sorry. This school is called St. Norbert's Primary. We've been a partner with them, golly, since probably 2013, 2011, and
Yeah,
that's
long
where we
time.
placed one of our first biosand filters there years ago. And so we've gone on to dig a well there, and provide water for the community there. And so these students are benefiting in all those ways, but the girls were still staying home because of their periods.
Yeah.
Right? You can give them a well, you can give them all these things, but if she's missing 4 days of school a year, then things start to happen. Keep moving. Next one. So this is Jennifer Moses. So keep her in your prayers. There she is wearing her Jasiri Project shirt. When we met Jennifer, she, as a victim of period poverty herself, dropped out of school in 8th grade. And again, the vision of this church helped send her on to high school. And so, you know what? We're also looking into computer training classes for her.
And she wants to go into nursing
She wants
school.
to go into
Yeah.
nursing. And
So
she doesn't want to leave her people. She wants to stay in her community. So talk about investment. Wow.
Do we have any other pictures?
Keep going. Next one.
Hiyo bagi yako alafu sema ni 66 ama chips? Chips. Sema chips. Sema chips. Nenda chukua clip nikiwa. Umaliza. Shika tu nataka kuchukua. Mbona mkama mmenuna?
Sema washe. 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 Kama yote. Washe. Washe.
Achukua clip nyingine.
Wow. Okay, next slide, please.
So good evening. Good evening, madam. So I'm very happy because of the foothold for what they have done for us. Truly, you have really helped us. Early this year, most of our girls have been staying at home due to periods. They have painful periods, they lack the oil to use, but because you have come in and you have helped us, we know now we will not have absenteeism. We really thank you, we really appreciate you, and we appreciate you at large, the international foothold for what you have done for our girls. I know they are comfortable. Some of them, they have that difficulty of not having money to buy, to purchase. They are always to be used, but now that you have given us the washable one, I know they are going to be comfortable. Thank you very much for that, and we really welcome you back again. So good evening.
I was over there. Does that look like failure? Not at all. You did this. You did this. I didn't do it. I just put in a little sweat and a few tears, a lot of sleep, but yeah, keep going. Now here's just...
Labda tu labda ni ndogo, sijui size zenu, nasikia. Kama ni ndogo, suma ndugu yako, kwamba si ndio suma nani? Kwamba ndio. Suma nani? Unaigeuza hivi. Unavalisha hivi. Unavalisha. Unavalisha hivi. Soma unavalisha. Unahakikisha kwamba unadanganya wale walimu pale kwa bafu kidogo. Unaona unavalisha. Unaifunga. Mifungo kama zile unaenda kushona. Mama atashinda kushona maana ni gharama umefanya nini? Sana kununulia hizo part. Asuna nimefunga. Lakini kuna kenye nimekosea lakini nitakwambia nini. Sumana, unafanya nini? Unaiba? Unaiba? Kwani mwalimu unaishi kitu? Sisi ni walimu na mimi, mama na wewe? Unaiba? Unaiba. Alafu kitu kingine nataka kukumbusha. Umeona wote? Yes. Umeona ndio unaiba? Yes. Kitu kingine. Unaona kadi yako? Yes. Ukishika hivi kuna mahali utasikia huku kuna karatasi, kuna kitunguu. Ukishika utasikia kuna mahali upande huu na huku kuna mahali utasikia kama upande mguu. Kwa mguu unaweka uende chini, mahali ndio itaenda chini, hapo ndio itaenda chini. Ndio hiyo period ukiweka, hiyo damu ikiingia, ile kitu isaidie kufanya nini? Izuie. Unasikia? Usiweke mahali gumu ukaweka hivi. Unasikia? Ukiweka hivi, asema ngwashe. Ngwashe. Asema
tingisha.
What the ladies were doing there and the girls were doing, that's a way of rejoicing.
Yes. Which is where we want to end this, right?
That's where we want to end.
Because we are so excited at this point. We feel like our foundation has been shored up.
Yeah.
And we are ready to move, and we are ready to grow, and we're ready to move forward, and we're so grateful for what you've done to help encourage us. It is time for celebrating, and so we really would love to see you at our gala to celebrate with us all that has come and where we are and where the future is going to lead us. So we really hope, and we'd love to see you there to share in that time of celebration, right?
Thank you very much, and we'll be around after the service. You want to ask any questions?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wasn't that great? You get a chance to see where your money's going and think about a ministry that, all the ministries that we have going on just around Chillicothe, and we think, daggone, it's so hard to do. Now, we're going to go halfway around the world and do this, and that's great. This time, praise team will do that, but yeah, I can't imagine what you guys go through and how you put that together, and we really appreciate your work and your effort.
Never known a love like yours, so intimate and so powerful. And I've tasted and I've seen, nothing comes close. Love like yours,
Jesus, your name is power. It's a breath and living water, and your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father. Let your praise ring louder every day and every hour, 'cause your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father.
I've never felt at home like this, just like a child so innocent, and I'm safe inside your arms. You won't let go. I've never known a love like yours.
Jesus, your name is power. It's a breath and living water, and your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father. Let your praise ring louder every day and every hour, 'cause your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father. Sing praise, God, we sing praise. God, we sing praise. We sing praise. We sing praise.
your name is power. It's the breath and living water. Your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father. Let your praise ring louder every day and every hour. 'Cause your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father. Jesus, your name is power. It's a breath and living water. Your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father. Let your praise ring louder every day and every hour. Your spirit guides me to the heart of the Father. Sing praise.
God, we sing praise.
Lord for that. What did Jesus tell us? Love thy neighbor as thyself. It's just love thy neighbor. Just get out, believe in Jesus, and if you feel the call, do what he wants you to do. And it's that simple, church. It's not that hard.
There is no fear, 'cause I believe. There is no doubt, 'cause I have seen your faithfulness, my fortress, over and over.
I have a hope found in your name. I have a strength found in your grace, your faithfulness, my fortress, over and over.
Make way through the waters, walk me through the fire. Do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. Shut the mouths of lions, bring dry bones to life, and do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. I believe in you, and I believe in you.
Release your love inside of me. Unleash your power for all to see. Spirit, come, fall on us, over and over.
Make way through the waters, walk me through the fire. Do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. Shut the mouths of lions, bring dry bones to life, and do what you are famous for, what you are famous for.
God of exceedingly, God of abundantly, more than we ask or think. Lord, you will never fail. Your name is powerful. Your word's unstoppable. All things are possible in you. Come on, church. God of exceedingly, God of abundantly, more than we ask or think. Lord, you will never fail. Your name is powerful. Your word's unstoppable. All things are possible in you.
Make way through the waters, walk me through the fire. Do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. Shut the mouths of lions, bring dry bones to life, and do what you are
Wonderful to have a great and loving God. Now for the benediction. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Amen.
Folks, have a good week and a blessed week. And just remember, love your neighbor. Go out and reach somebody. Have a good day.